loud. Getting the data lock lined up and ready to go. Trying to keep those shift points nice and low. Not trying to get too aggressive, worth the extra headache. Guys here, I think they're getting ready for an event, so we'll probably let them have a couple of solo passes, and then we will be up and running. Looking forward to getting some of this data too. So far, the thing's doing pretty good. Cannot really complain at all about how the car is running. Especially for stock too. I'm not making too many changes to the tune. Actually, no changes in terms of timing. Let's get this, get the scanner up and running. Uh-oh, might have a little C6 Corvette action. Need to do is get a little bit of heat into this thing. We're a little on the shy side. And it is hot. So it went at 1058 with a DA of like 5. You guys can believe that. That's nutty. It's me turning traction control off. This vet looks pretty serious too. All right. Time to party. Get this turned around. You're going to get the go ahead. All right. Burnout is good. Let's see what the timer says it did. Showing 0 to 60, 2.7 seconds. 0 to 100, 2.6 seconds. Showing 8th mile and 6.8 at 105. It might be a little bit optimistic. Showing a quarter mile ET of 10.6 at 131. That's been a little bit shy. It might have gone to 50. We're about to find out. Hang on just a second. This 309 gear rips on the big end. Thank you, sir. I was close. 10.606 at 130.24. That's with grains going out of control, and with grains being crazy and DA pretty much sky high. 10.606 at 130.24 miles an hour. So with the gear, it's picked up a solid, at least, I'd say almost 2 miles per hour. So not too bad there. Got to say that's a solid result, but humidity's gone up a little bit. By the way, for you 8th mile guys, 682 at 103.87. a 158 60 foot. So little 309 gear is a beast. This kid is trucking it on the big end. Where you really feel it is in that fourth gear and the fifth gear, where it's pulling all the way straight through, shifting right before the traps. So I'd say overall, nice result, all things considered. Probably going to be a wrap for me too this evening. Wanted to try to get some info for you guys earlier, but things were working out, it just wasn't going to be. So and with the track going away the way that it is, probably not going to go any quicker than that, the way that it sits now. So I get this thing parked here real quick, say what's up to everybody that's in on the chat. Take a look at some data here. Let's see. Yeah, take a look at some of these shift points. Yeah, let's see. Where's my 2-3? That's the important one. Yep. Could probably bring up the 2-3. I'm shifting at about 63. Could probably bring it up to about 64. But she's happy, and I could probably eke a little bit more out of her. Actually, I lowered that shift point just a tad, but it's not going to make a difference one way or another. But she is a little monster, getting up to the 8th mile. Cool. But again, shift points look nice. All of them right around 6,300-ish. Knock retard, doing nothing. Running on, by the way, no race gas, no nothing. This is straight 93 octane. And going through the traps, shifting basically right after I go through the traps, it looks like. Going through the traps at about 6,200 RPM. So I would say that's a pretty solid result. Let me say what's up to everybody in here real quick. Hang on just a second. Speed Freak saying track night. I like it. Dr. Div say what up, E? What up, Doc? Bob Corleone saying let's burn some rubber. Hell yeah. That was a 3rd gear burnout, by the way. Slime Kuna got the 2 thumbs up. I like it. Fast Man, hey Brian, get her done. I like it. Look forward to seeing your results. Not too shabby. A 1058's the best, and that pass was a 1060 with the track going away at 130.24 miles per hour. Let's see. Mopar is in. What's up, my brother? Shawnee says it's pretty spucky for the air. Yeah, I mean, 2,700 DA with 135 grains. Jebediah is checking in saying Revlon is hollering. I like it. Shawnee saying, how does it feel? Feels like $1 million going down the drag strip at least. Onyx checking in saying he's in ET racing the 309 helped the 60 foot. Yes, they did. Good question. So we went 158 on that. Typically I'd be in like the 161, high 160 range if it's doing really well. So yeah, it did help the 60 foot. Crypto saying testing out that new diff. Yeah, I am. Shawnee 8 mile an hour solid. Yep. Crypto Cat saying nice. So anyway, I want to take you guys for a ride with me. I always enjoy doing that. And yeah, again, if y'all can see it, I don't know if the 1060 at 130, there's the rest of the time slip. Is that thing checking out? Anyway, there's the rest of that time slip. You can see it. Car's doing great, man. I can't really complain at the drag strip. Vibration issue, yeah, a little bit. By the way, 068 reaction time on that. Best reaction time for the night is an 023, I think? 029 is the best reaction time, I think, for the night. One thing you gotta learn with this gear though is that the car does react significantly quicker. Makes 60 foot makes a reaction time. Do you manual shift through your burnout up to 3rd gear? Yes, I do. You'll find that 4th gear and 5th gear. Man, we're just gonna go ahead and call that tonight. This track is not gonna get any better, and that's just kind of how that is right now. 4th gear is the thing about it is it pulls so much harder in fourth and fifth gear that the back half of the track, to me, the car with the 309 feels like it's back halving the way that it should have from the factory. I really think these cars should have come from the factory with the 309 gear. Now, in terms of how does it feel, I want to get to that a little bit. So a 309 gear in these cars, in a Hellcat, you're going to need to do some tuning. Now, not just because you're going to want to get the most out of the gear with a little bit higher shift points. The reason why you're going to want to get a tune is for driver command torque, to give it a little bit more driver command torque, because without anything to push against, talking about that gear, the car can feel a little bit soft. Kick up driver command torque a little bit, and the car just completely wakes up, drives the way that I feel like it should have driven from the factory. Say the perfect. I am running right now the TSS drive shack with CD joints either end of it. Am still getting a bit of a resonance or a vibe either way. That's not the fault of the gear. The gear is spinning about 15% faster for any given mile an hour that you're going, so you're going to get some level of vibration to it. But I'm also running race tires and everything else, so that could be smoother than it is. But that being said, it's performing flawlessly tonight and has performed flawlessly all night, and getting from point A to point B, this thing is absolutely on point. So as far as any other changes that I made to the tune, I didn't. I mean, we're still running stock timing, running just a scotch more fuel at the very top end of the pull. As far as short-term knock retard, since everything is pretty stock, I'm getting basically pretty stock knock retard figures. You'll almost always, unless the Hellcat is running race gas, you'll almost always get some amount of knock retard. Now, that being said, I know multiple Mopar is going to call me a little BI about this, but I'm only running 11% more voltage on my knock sensors. I'm still very, very low. I've got just enough in my knock sensors to get away from any false knock. So, the main idea, again, to just have the safest tune that I can put together for the car and run it in all weather conditions. We're back a little over a tenth. I'd say about 1 1/4 tenth, and about almost 2 miles an hour. In fact, I'd say legit 2 miles an hour. And a tenth and a quarter is. I could probably get a little bit more out of it. Obviously, if I put an engine tune on it, extend the RPM a little bit, I could maybe ink out a little bit more. But the way that the car is running now, I just don't want to. For me and my taste, and running this thing on pump gas, I'm going to be a little bit on the conservative side with the tune. In fact, I'm being very conservative in that it's basically stock with a little bit of over rev. So obviously stock pulley ratio. All that being said, it's still stock horsepower, and in stock power, the car is running 130 miles an hour. Race weight, with the amount of fuel that's in the car now, you're looking at about 4430, 4440 with me in it. So that'll give you an idea. A lot of people ask, well, were the scales working or what have you? Yeah, they were, and that's kind of where we're at. Roughly 44, just shy of 4450. Like I say, 4440, 4435. So let's see who else we got in here. Let's see. Oh, bouncing around here. Shawnee, could you launch even harder, and would it hold? Yeah, and yeah. I mean, the car could have easily held a little bit harder launch, but the thing is that I only stalled it to about 1500. These things don't like hard, high stalls, at least in my experience. you know, launching at about 12 to 15 is typically the happy place for these things. Let's see. Shawnee, cat over temp or no? No cat over temp. I have made provisions for that. Although they're not overly aggressive, I will say that my cat over temp protection will keep it out of cat over temp, but barely. If I get into a real deep cat over temp situation, then yeah, they'll start to kick in, but I don't have them flooding the engine. But yeah, it is getting into cat. Well, actually, let me tell you where it was at the end of that pass. I'll tell you by command AFR what cat over temp if it was kicking in. Let's see. Get back in here. It looks like it was just barely tipping into cat over temp at the end of the pass. I mean, just like as I was going through the traps. Let's see. It had just started tickling into that point. So, yeah, like I say, I mean, we're looking at a pretty solid tune, a very, I would call it safe tune. Multiple Mopars would call it a sissy tune, but it is, in my opinion, a good enough tune to work with this gear to where I don't have to worry about doing really anything with the car. I could probably throw a little bit of fuel at it if I wanted to be really nanny-ish and do some 1/8 mile and 1/2 mile runs with it. But again, just the way the car sits now, I mean, we ran a 58 in obnoxious DA. In fact, I'll tell you, now granted, the first pass, the track's always in good shape, so got a little bit of that to play with, but it's more or less identical to my last pass. Here you go, tail of the tape. 2773 was the DA for that first pass. That's air density on the line, 92% air density with 135 grains. So there you go. Everybody's sweating like you would not believe. Yeah, it's just super hot, super humid. So that's the night so far. Like I say, car ran flawlessly. Again, 93 octane, no race gas, nothing like that. Just a drag pack, rear seat delete, tranny tune, 309 gear. That's it. Nothing else done to the car, which is pretty cool. You can take a stock car in these conditions and run, you know, anywhere in the 1050s or 60s. I'd say that ain't half bad. So I don't know. What do you guys think? You know, as far as, you know, once the DA gets lower, what are the guesses? Like in a 0 DA, I bet you I could knock at least 2.5 tenths off of that for sure too. And if that were the case, that would be quicker than what the car was last year. But the goal is to try to get a teen out of it. So I don't know. That might be a bit of a tough ask. Let's see. Dr. Div saying 1050, 1060 is great. Yep. Shawnee's asking, does the car kind of feel faster with the 309U? I'm definitely going 309 gears. And Speed Freaks calling out 1035. I would agree with that for sure. Does the car feel faster? I'll put it to you like this, Sean. Yeah. No, but how do I put this? As long as the driver demand torque is adjusted, I think you'd be happy with it. It's all there once you do the gear with no tune. It's just the amount of pedal that you give it. You're not going to get the same amount of thrust because there's just nothing for that gear or that blower or that torque converter. There's nothing for all that power to lean up against, so it just basically free runs the car, so to speak. Hopefully that makes sense. Speed Freak saying, love that sound, and that's a stock airbox. Yes, it is. Stock airbox with the original air filter in it. So, yeah, that is the original air filter still in the car. Sounds pretty good. And again, you know, a lot of folks have asked, what about cold air? What about, you know, different air boxes, different filters or whatever? Guys, the car just went 10.6 flat, close to a 10.6.0 and a 10.5.8 with the stock filter. It's not going to go any faster with a different filter. Believe me, we've tried all of them. It goes slower with the K&N. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Shawnee's saying, I could tell it was shifting quicker in the quarter mile. Oh, yeah, absolutely. It's going through the gears pretty quickly. As far as performance goes, I honestly really do believe it. And Mopars can speak to this as well. One awesome thing is, you know, when you get a car, when you have a car with a 309 gear, it just feels happy all the time, especially once you get the throttle settings sorted out with the Hellcats. The Red Eyes and the Demons actually have a more aggressive throttle curve than the Hellcats do. Yeah, I would say that, you know, once you get the shift points and once you get the throttle, the driver command torque sorted out, you'll be in love with it. Absolutely love it. For sure. Make sure I'm not forgetting anybody in here. It's kind of hard for me to read it. Wait till I pull up over here at the house. Let's see. Hang on. Can't see nothing. Hang on. But yeah. This thing is so much fun to drive with this gear. And, you know, I didn't get crazy with the driver command torque. Added about kind of blended up into like 10%. But what that does is it makes the curve, believe it or not, it makes that curve more linear. The stock curve kind of starts out sort of flat and then arcs up. So it's kind of flat until you get to the very bottom of your pedal travel, and then it kind of arcs up with that curve to wide open. So with this setup, it just makes it more linear. In fact, it makes the pedal feel more like you have a cable throttle as opposed to an electronic throttle. Hopefully that makes sense. Put some new damn street lights in this neighborhood. Like freaking Nosferatu lives out here. Hang on just a second. Let's see what we all got here pulling into the casa. Alright. Let's get her pulled in to her nest. Let's see. All right, let's see what we got in here. Okay, so Dr. Div saying all about that filter life. Absolutely. Nothing but turbine. Yeah, well, turbos. Turbo the world, brother. Slash is saying, please tell my 7-year-old Caden to go to bed. Caden, it's time to go to bed, buddy. Been up all day. Time to catch some 40 winks. Speed Freak 93. If someone upgrades to a 309, all the big name tuners would know what tuning it needs, as you described. Yeah, hopefully. You got to remember that there's a how do you put this? You got there's a lot of subjectiveness to there's a lot of time out. I gotta name my file. I'm left out. We didn't name the file, y'all. Nobody called me out on that. Let's see. That would be track run 4309. And then our date, which is 8/16, which always precedes the name. All right, so getting back to it, saved. You know, the thing is that a lot of the tuning that's involved with transmission or with the transmission can be very subjective. So that's something that you got to keep in mind. But yeah, for anybody that knows how to tune should know how to tune and make a 309 gear work properly. Thing is that now HP Tuners has got some pretty solid the new tables and PIDs and everything else you can log and change and whatever. It makes trans tuning a whole lot easier. So, you know, keeping it from yipping on shifts and things like that, which is funny, by the way, right after a trans tune, it will yip shifts, and the car yip shifted all the way to a 1068 at 130 and change, by the way. That would have been another 50. Dr. Div say, must be nice 5 minutes from the track. Man, it's awesome. I love it. Slime saying, holy cow, from the track to the garage in like 10 minutes. That's right. Robbie saying, Brian, I wish I was there. See you out there soon. Nasty Cat will be ready soon. I like it. I think Brian Sanders was out there. Did you see him run? No, I didn't. As a matter of fact, I think he was there. I know Z was there, and I can tell you that Z had a pass that was pretty puckerish. The track was not that awesome tonight, but it wasn't that awesome, but you got to remember that the humidity and all of that, that track goes away pretty quickly. Once the sun dips behind the horizon, that track is on borrowed time for sure. So just kind of goes with the territory with that place. That's Robbie saying, nice times, brother. I appreciate it. Dial Power saying, hello, Mason. What's up, man? Oh, don't forget, Rob, we got the track day coming up in January. Symphonic saying, you see the GT500 coming in at 4225. That is funny. You know, I'll tell you something. If that car does come in at 4225, that would be pretty darn hysterical. To only be a couple of 100 pounds more than a Hellcat, look, that's 5%. I'm sorry, you can't holler out on a barge, freighter. It's kind of hard to have that argument when you're already. I mean, dude, talk about pot calling the kettle black on that deal. That's awesome, though. Shawnee's asking, what is my car going to run at 1,000 feet? I would say at a true 1,000 down here, it would probably run in the high 30s, low 40s. It would be my guess. High 30s, low 40s, first pass, good track prep. That's what I'll have to shoot for. Shawnee saying his 392 Scatty weighed in at 4180. Yeah, what did mine weigh? Mine was I think it was pretty close to that. Let's see. No, actually my Scat weighed, I think it was close to 42. I think it was 42 with me in it. Maybe 42. At one point with a full tank of gas, full street trim, it was 4,500 pounds. I remember that. That car, my SRT, was a porker. Thing's heavier than a freaking Hellcat. But I'm pretty stoked about this, man. You know, the car went basically a 680 at 100, almost 104 miles an hour on that last pass. That's pretty dadgum quick. Especially, again, when you consider the conditions that we're running in. Dr. Dev talking about his truck saying, haven't weighed mine since the cage went in, but she's a big girl, so probably 6,000. Yeah, that truck, I think those trucks check in at like what, 57, 5,800. So yeah, I'd say close to 6,000 pounds just walking around. I don't know. They're heavy. He's saying maybe not. I don't know, man. I don't know, brother. But, Well, guys, thank you. I just want to say thank you all for hanging out. Want to get you guys a live trip down the drag strip. I don't get a chance to do that too often, but when I do, I want to make sure I take you guys along for the ride. So at any rate, that is a wrap on this one. I'm going to get this thing buttoned up, and that's it. Going to go over some data. I think all the data, though, looks pretty darn good. All things considered, conditions and whatnot. So may need to make a slight change once the temperature gets a little bit cooler. She's probably going to want to shift a little bit early, but that's okay by me, because again, going for a nice, safe, happy, and healthy Hellcat. So at any rate, that is a wrap on this one, guys. Y'all have a fantastic evening. Catch you on the next one. Adios.